Bienvenidos. Gather close, but not too close. I wouldn't want to frighten you just yet. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Coronel Calaveras de Azúcar, formerly a high-ranking officer in the Mexican army and now, well, let's say I've been transformed. Yes, my dashing good looks may have taken a turn towards the skeletal, and my features now shimmer with sweet sugar and painted swirls, but I assure you, my spirit burns as brightly as ever. My story begins not in this world of glistening marigolds and candlelight but on the battlefield of life and death. De Catzago, I wore the rugged, sun-bleached uniform of a colonel, leading my troops in dusty towns and lush mountains. The sounds of war were my lullaby, the dust of the road my cloak. Yet, when the time came for me to pass to the other side, the gateway did not lead where I expected. For my courage, or perhaps my stubbornness, even I'm not sure, I was granted a different fate. Instead of resting peacefully, I became a Calavera de Azúcar a sugar skull, bound to walk the earth between worlds every Dia de los Muertos, telling tales of history to those who would listen. With my sugar-crusted bones and painted grin, I dance along the line between the living and the dead, across the veil of time. My journey isn't just about tales of bravery or battles, it's about something larger, a legacy carried by the spirits of ancient Mexico and the timeless bond that keeps us all connected. We're about to explore worlds that no living being can enter on their own. And though I am but a Calavera my story lives through my words, through the lives of those who came before, and perhaps, even through you. Our journey begins with the origins of Dia de los Muertos, in the lands and memories of the ancient Mexicas and their great empire, the Aztecs. To understand how this sacred day emerged, we must go back far back long before the arrival of the conquistadores, back to the days when mighty pyramids scraped the sky, and gods of life and death ruled the land. In the world of the Mexicas, death was never the end, it was a doorway, an inevitable crossing, and even the dead held a seat at the banquet of the living. But this tale isn't so simple. So, gather close once again, my amigo, as we step into the haze of history. In part 2, we shall walk the ancient streets of Tenochtitlan, in a world where spirits, ancestors, and the living all danced in the same sacred circle, celebrating what we now call Dia de los Muertos. Hold tight as we venture into this mystic celebration, and I shall share with you secrets hidden in the heart of the Aztec Empire. Step lightly, friend, for we have arrived in a world beyond your own, a time when the Mexica people, often known as the Aztecs, ruled the land with grandeur and reverence for forces beyond life. Here, in the sacred capital of Tenochtitlan, the air is alive with sounds of bustling marketplaces, the distant chants of priests, and the smoky perfume of copal incense drifting skyward. In this city of stone temples and vibrant canals, the heartbeat of the people echoes with their devotion to life and, yes, to death. Before the arrival of any Spaniard, before the stroke of a conquistador's sword, the indigenous people of Mesoamerica had their own view of life's cycle. They understood that life and death were two halves of a whole, and that death was not an end but a passage to a different realm. Here, among the Mexicas, the dead were revered and celebrated, treated as active members of their families and communities. Spirits were not feared but honored, and no time of year brought them closer to their loved ones than the celebrations of Mictecacihuatl and Mictecacihuatl, the feasts of the little dead and the great dead, held for over 3,000 years. Picture this ancient Dia de los Muertos, towering pyramids of stone adorned with marigolds and golden maize, small idols of the goddess Mictecacihuatl, the Lady of the Dead, offered to guide spirits across realms. Imagine the faces of those still living, their cheeks painted and heads adorned with flowers as they left offerings at altars for their ancestors. Sweet treats, clay cups of frothy atol obsidian carvings, and tiny figurines were set with care to remind the departed of the joy they had once shared in this world. Life for the Mexica people was marked by cycles of harvests, of rains, and of human lives. Everyone's fate lay in the hands of gods who ruled over all things, from the lush earth to the underworld, Mictlan. Here, death was not something to dread but a destination. When one crossed from life into the afterlife, they entered Mictlan, guided by the spirit of a loyal dog and tested by the many trials that lay in the underworld. For them, Dia de los Muertos was a time to ask for guidance, to remember, and to celebrate those whose lives continued beyond their earthly existence. But the future was soon to bring shadows to these sacred traditions. An ocean away, another story was brewing, one with laws and decrees written in the halls of Europe. In part 3, we'll travel from the warm celebrations of Tenochtitlan to the cold proclamations of a pope's court, where the doctrine of discovery would mark the dawn of conquest, transformation, and pain. Hold tight, because next, we shall meet Pope Alexander VI and the beginnings of a wave that would wash over these ancient traditions, reshaping them forever. Come closer, my friend, and keep your courage steady. For now, we cross continents and oceans, leaving behind the warm hearth of Tenochtitlan to enter the stone-cold halls of European power. Our destination? The court of Pope Alexander VI in Rome, year 1493, where ink-stained hands write words that will change entire civilizations. Here, power lies in decrees, laws, and doctrines, and one such decree will echo across history, the doctrine of discovery. Picture a gathering of bishops and noblemen, murmuring in Latin as the Pope's voice rings out with authority. The doctrine of discovery, the very words granting Christian nations the divine right to claim any lands not ruled by Christians, may appear on parchment, but its impact will ripple like a stone tossed into a still pond. Fueled by a desire for wealth, land, and conversion, this doctrine will carve pathways for conquistadores to sail across the Atlantic and lay claim to entire civilizations in the name of church and crown. This is the dawn of colonization, when the lands of the Americas become new only to those who have never stepped foot on its shores. The missionaries and soldiers who arrive in Mesoamerica bring with them their religion, a faith foreign to the Mexicas yet marked by festivals and saints bearing an eerie resemblance to the celebrations already held here. Dia de los Muertos, once an open invitation to the spirits of ancestors, now faces transformation under the shadow of colonial rule. The Spanish bring with them their own celebrations, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, rooted in medieval beliefs about death, the afterlife, and the journey of souls. Now, let us look closer. In Catholic Europe, All Saints' Day, November 1st, and All Souls' Day, November 2nd, were days to honor the souls of the dead through prayer, mass, and remembrance. These customs, along with Halloween, had pagan roots tied to Samhain, a Celtic festival marking the veil between the living and the dead. In the New World, Spanish friars and priests saw the Mexica people's vibrant Dia de los Muertos with its dances, offerings, and skull motifs, and decided to adapt it, aligning it with Christian values while concealing its ancient spiritual core. For the indigenous people of Mexico, this change was more than an alteration of a holiday. It marked the beginning of a painful transformation, as Spanish rule crushed traditions and imposed new social structures. The mingling of Spanish and Mexica blood, language, and religion gave rise to a new identity, the mestizo. Dia de los Muertos became a blend of old and new, where Catholic saints sat beside Mictecacihuatl, and altars once devoted to gods of the underworld now included images of the Virgin Mary and Christ. But, as with all things, the old ways were not so easily erased. Beneath the Spanish influences, the indigenous people clung to their beliefs, their memories, and their customs. Dia de los Muertos survived in this blended form, a testament to resilience, rooted in ancient connections that no decree could sever. Next, our journey returns to Mexico. Part 4 will see us in the present day, where Dia de los Muertos has become a proud symbol of identity, celebrated by millions from Mexico City to Los Angeles, and beyond. Today's altars hold offerings not only for ancestors but for a shared heritage, one that defies borders and breathes life into the old ways. Let's step forward to where the dead still walk among us, more alive than ever. Here we are, the present day, where the old and new meet under brilliant skies and bustling city streets. Imagine the plazas of Mexico City, alive with color, sound, and spirit. Marigolds line the pathways, candles flicker in the evening light, and families gather in cemeteries and homes, building altars laden with asterisco pan de muerto asterisco, fruits, sugar skulls, and portraits of loved ones who have crossed to the other side. Dia de los Muertos has blossomed from an ancient tradition to a cherished celebration, a day where life and death dance together, embraced by millions across Mexico and beyond. In modern Mexico, Dia de los Muertos is more than a day of remembrance. It's a symbol of pride, identity, and resilience. The Spanish left their mark, yes, but they could not erase the indigenous spirit that runs like a river through Mexican culture. Today, People gather to create ofrendas those beautiful, sprawling altars dedicated to those they've lost. Each ofrenda is unique, decorated with marigolds, candles, skulls, and the favorite foods and belongings of the departed. The smell of copal incense fills the air, believed to guide spirits to the offerings left by either loved ones. Across Mexico, cities host grand parades, and in places like Oaxaca, festivities carry a special magic, as if the old gods are smiling down, pleased that their festival of the dead has thrived through centuries of change. Children's faces are painted as skulls, echoing the Calaveras de Azúcar of old, a tradition so tied to the essence of the holiday. And me, Coronel Calaveras de Azúcar? I look upon it all with pride, knowing that even my own transformation into a sugar skull has found its place within these celebrations, a reminder that death is not something to fear but to honor. This revival of Día de los Muertos doesn't stop at Mexico's borders, however. For many Mexican Americans and Mexican aficionados worldwide, Día de los Muertos is a way to connect with their roots, to feel part of a legacy that defies centuries of separation. In Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Pittsburgh and beyond, communities celebrate Día de los Muertos, organizing altars and festivals that mirror those in Mexico. These celebrations honor not only family members but also those lost to violence, to migration, and to the struggles that many face in the modern world. For them, Día de los Muertos is both a celebration and an act of resistance, preserving identity and unity in a world that too often seeks to divide. As the world watches, Día de los Muertos has captured global fascination, becoming a symbol for universal themes of memory, loss, and connection. Movies, art, and music celebrate this day, sharing with people everywhere a glimpse into the Mexican way of honoring life and death. Though some fear the holiday may be commercialized, its spirit remains unbreakable, its roots buried deep in the memory of the Mexica and the traditions they passed down. Thank you for watching and for joining me on this journey through time to discover the lost and ancient heartbeat of Día de los Muertos. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like and share. November is National Native American Heritage Month. You may be interested in our related videos on that topic, so check out our extensive video library to find your next video. We also have more animated videos for Halloween and more coming soon for Christmas. And so, my journey with you, my amigo, comes to an end here for now. Día de los Muertos will continue, long after I've had my final dance. But as long as people gather around candles and marigolds, as long as the laughter and love of those who have left us echoes in the night, Coronel Calaveras de Azúcar, will be here, watching over those who celebrate the beauty of life and death. Adiós.
Close as we welcome them in. Mexica and Spanish old ways combine. In colors and altars, our souls are alive.
From Mexico's mountains to city streets, they come alive as old worlds meet.
Los Angeles and Spanish old ways combine. In colors and altars, our souls are alive. Vivos y muertos juntos otra vez, bailan y ríen bajo el atardecer. Las velas brillan, el amor nunca se va. El día de los muertos nos volverán a abrazar. copal, siguiendo el río de lo ancestral. Hoy nos reunimos para celebrar que en este día nadie se va. Living in death together once more, dancing and laughing like days of before. Candles gleam and love never fades. Day of the dead we embrace once again. So light the candles, set the food for those who walk this life with